Hello, thank you everyone for joining us again today. My name is Sean Severson, co-founder and president of Water Tower Research and head of climate tech and sustainable investing. As part of our ongoing fireside chat and sustainable investing, we invite leading emerging growth companies within the sector to present, talk to investors, and today we have KULR Technologies. And we do have an initiation report that we published, I guess, about a week and a half ago. We encourage you to access that on our website, www.watertowerresearch.com. As a reminder, these events are open to all investors. They are archived as well and available on demand. You can ask a question. In the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a box. If you submit your questions there, we will receive them as well as the company will receive them. So today, presenting from the company, we have Michael Moe, co-founder and CEO, and Keith Cochran, who recently joined as COO and president. And with that, I'll turn it over to, I guess we'll start with our first question here. And again, a reminder, we'll try to answer some of these questions at the end of the presentation today. But I'm going to start off with you, Michael. Maybe give a quick introduction of Keith, and then maybe a little bit of history of the company and the products and technology and kind of how it got to be where it is today.
Yeah, hey, great, Sean. Thanks for having us here today, and thanks for our investors who join the call today. So my name is Michael Moe. I'm the co-founder and CEO of KULR Technology Group. So let me introduce the company first, and I will hand over to Keith. For KULR Technology Group, we come from about a 30-year heritage in developing carbon fiber-based thermal management solutions for aerospace and defense applications. Our products are trusted by NASA. It's been used on the Mars Rover 2020 Perseverance program, International Space Station, as well as numerous different aerospace defense applications. And our mission at KULR Technology Group is to take these space-proven technologies and apply them to the world of lithium-ion batteries and electronics to make them cooler, lighter, and safer. Our customers include the likes of Lockheed Martin, Airbus, Raytheon, Boeing, as well as many other commercial customers. Our technology target multiple billion-dollar markets, such as the electric transportation, lithium-ion battery, energy storage, and transportation market. And we're building our management team that has decades of experience in technology products, product marketing, corporate management, supply chain management, and large-scale manufacturing operations. As a snapshot of the company, we've been trading on the OTCQB market since 2018 under the under the symbol KULR. Our goal for 2021 is to uplist to a senior national exchange. We've been taking some aggressive steps to achieve that. End of 2020, we completed a $8 million equity financing that gave us a balance sheet to invest in our business to grow into the future. And we also recently appointed a number of independent board members to meet the uplist requirements. And more importantly, we're investing all areas of our business in 2021 and gear up for fast growth for this year and beyond. And then, Keith Cochran, he recently joined us in Q1. I will let him introduce himself, and he brings a lot of experience in supply chain management, large-scale manufacturing, and we are fortunate to have him join us today. So, Keith?
Well, hello, everybody. And again, Sean, thanks for having us on board. We appreciate that. As Michael said, I have 30 years of electronics manufacturing experience behind me, and spent the last 24 years with a very large global EMS. My last sector that I was managing was about a $4 billion sector, making smartphones for one of the leading people in that field. So known KULR for a very long time, for at least 7-8 years, and worked closely with Michael. So it's really nice to be on board. We have a lot of just really incredible things going on at the company right now, and we'll share some of that with you guys coming up.
Thanks for that, Keith. And Michael, let's go to you with just kind of digging into the technology a little bit and the materials. Just help me understand, help our investors understand without getting too technical. Can you run through the applications, how they're used, and really kind of what problems they solve? I mean, when you're looking at why are they using your material in this particular application is I guess, to summarize it and maybe dig in a little bit to the history.
Great. Yeah, without getting too nerdy out on the technology side. So our core technology is a carbon fiber matrix material that's very lightweight and then conduct heat more efficiently than other materials. It's used to build a suite of products such as the heat sink on the Mars rover Perseverance, to keep the Sherlock instruments operating in optimum temperature. It's also used on the International Space Station to keep the astronauts' laptop batteries safe from fire and explosion. Some of the commercial products that we build on top of this technology platform is to keep the lithium-ion batteries from thermal runaway propagation, such as the energy storage product, really to meet new safety standards and regulations. It's also being used to test for safety in electrical aviation and EV vehicles, to see how to keep the battery safe to meet the new safety requirements, as well as battery storage and transportation applications. But we're a firm believer that the new frontier that we're exploring now is how to utilize our technology for fast charging and lighter, safer batteries. We're exploring different configuration to use this carbon fiber structure to be part of new batteries, whether it's existing chemistry or solid-state batteries. And then we start getting into inside the battery cell with our license with NASA and DOE and NREL on the internal short circuit technology. And then we would like to continue that path and see our carbon fiber technology play an ever more important role in the development of the battery of the future.
Let's look at some of the applications. I mean, they've been more niche oriented in the history of the company, right? I mean, smaller volumes and niche applications. But could we expand a little bit on the broader market opportunities and overall commercialization strategy of the base technology?
Yeah. So you're right. So far, most of our technology platform has been created and centered around the aerospace defense applications, which is what you call niche applications. But I do want to point out that Jeffrey Moore at the book Crossing the Chasm talk about it's very important for small companies to first establish itself as technology leaders in the applications in the niche applications to build a foundation for long-term success. So when you build that, you have a chance to cross the chasm for mass adoption. So this is what we've been doing. But even though there seem like niche applications, we do see significant opportunities for this technology to grow in the aerospace and defense sector in 2021 and beyond. As a number of it's a function of number of things that's happening in the industry. One is that space programs such as the NASA and private sectors continue to grow. Right, and NASA is preparing for the Artemis program, which is going back to the moon by 2024. So we'll see a lot of battery use for that mission. In the U.S. DoD program is continuing to grow with the electrification of the fleet and also electrification of their warfare. So some of the programs such as hypersonic, direct energy, we have a play in those programs as well. Right. So now on the near-term commercialization efforts. Some of the opportunities to bring our thermal runaway shield technology to energy storage, electrical transportation, and battery transportation market. On the energy storage side, we talked about we have a partnership with a company called Volta Energy for grid and enterprise energy storage products. We will see a commercialization and ramp up activity for that venture this year. For EV and battery transportation, we recently announced our partnership with Andretti Technologies, where we will be developing high-performance thermal management and battery safety technology for the auto sports world first, and then going to mass market EVs. Earlier, I think about last week or so, I think we also announced the new smart battery product for drones. And this is a first step for our overall strategy on how to use our expertise in thermal management, battery safety to go into specific verticals and then eventually go into adjacent markets. So there's a lot of opportunity ahead from the niche market, cross the chasm into mass market applications. Keith might have a few things to add on top of that as well.
Yeah, let me just add to that. KULR has the talent to bring automation to large-scale, highly complex battery testing and storage processes, as well as battery pack manufacturing which we recently announced.
And just maybe expanding on that a bit, if you look at what technology is being used in these applications, obviously I would expect it to be leading edge energy storage technologies, and we're talking about things that probably where the commercial market is going towards, if I could say it that way. So there's some unique aspects about your material, I guess maybe be in front of the curve is one way to think about it. Because commercialization is mass-produced products are going towards the same technology today that's in leading edge. So maybe, I don't know, if you can expand on that a little bit, Michael or Keith, just on why that is and what's unique about it in these forward-looking applications.
Yeah, I mean, it is always coming from the top, performance sector first, right? And then you got to go cost down. Our technology is space proven. It works. The next challenge is to scale up and scale down. Scale up in terms of manufacturing and scale down in terms of cost. So kind of literally taking a page out of the playbook of some of the industry leaders like Tesla and others, where they started with the really high performance roadsters, and Lucid Motors, they start with the Formula E platforms. And then they go from there, right? So we want to start at the high end, the space applications in the EV world, start with the motorsports, solve those highest performance problems first, and then they go downstream. So that's where Keith and his experience in execution, in mass scale manufacturing, scale up, that will play a critical role for the next stage of growth.
Yeah, that actually brings me right to my next question for Keith. I mean, how do you do this? What's the process? Obviously, there's a lot of complicated issues you have to address, but maybe your vision of what needs to be done and how you want to do it.
Yeah, so thanks, Sean. Good point there. So it is a little complex, but I think we have some answers for that. So, we spent our first quarter doing a deep dive on our business strategy and capabilities. The result of this analysis was that we were able to identify new services and products that were adjacent to KULR's existing technology. We took each opportunity, we mapped out a plan of action to realize this vision. And you've probably seen already that we've been building out the team with the announcement of our VP of Operations. We recently hired our Senior Director of Product Development, specifically to help take us onto the smart battery stage. And we're in the process of relocating into a new facility that's 4 times the size of our current building. And at this point, we have line of sight on realizing the vision. And it's strictly about execution. And the nice part is for us, we already have customers waiting for these new products and services so they can take advantage of it. So it's nice that before we get the Field of Dreams built, we have the team already waiting to take the field. So that's really good for us.
Do you think you have to make significant investments in that, Keith? I mean, is this going to be a capital-intensive effort? What's that going to look like from expense standpoint? Well,
the core technology platform, it's been a 30-year investment in the making, starting back in the NASA days. Over the last few years, we've made significant investment in building not just our product and IP portfolio, but also our brand in the industry. And now KULR is well recognized and well capitalized, and we'll continue to make significant investments in automation, human resources, and R&D to achieve our vision. We're confident in these investments and that they're going to help us achieve our goal to deliver our core products and services while we're beginning to launch some very exciting, large-scale new services and products. We will continue our growth on a national senior stock market exchange in the near future, and we'll continue making significant investments in our technology and organization to succeed in the fast-changing battery ecosystem.
So sitting outside from my position as an analyst or from investor's position, what should we look for? I mean, how do we understand what's going on at KULR and what you're executing on? I mean, are there milestones that we should look for and just things that help us track progress from the outside, what we should expect?
Yeah. So I think for 2021 and 2022, for analysts, investors to kind of think about KULR and how we should be evaluated. We're thinking that that we should be evaluated and tracked by three things: revenue growth, product launches, and customer engagements. We exit 2020 with about a 300% year-over-year growth in Q4 of 2020. We just announced that for Q1, our revenue growth would be about 400% year-over-year growth. So now we're making significant investments in all areas of our business, from the team, from R&D, from facility to marketing to sustain and expand on this kind of growth. On the product side, we just announced a smart battery product, which is the first of many to come. And then throughout 2020, we'll continue to launch new products and services together with customer announcements along with them. So hopefully that gives the investor a good way to track our progress, what we talked about, and we will deliver on our promises.
So I have a question for both of you. You may have different perspectives coming from yours, Keith, and trying to develop the scale and where your vision is, Michael. But what are the challenges that you think you face? Is it just being a smaller company? Is it capital? Is it getting costs down? And where are the things you think you're going to have to overcome? That are most critical.
Yeah, I'll jump in first on that one. So, I think we run a very lean organization today. So we're pretty cost efficient and use our capital wisely. We do a lot of things that are somewhat unique to a smaller company. We have some great partners in some major laboratories around the world. We have great partners that kind of complete our entire ecosystem for us. And we're engaged with quite a few universities. So we're taking what's small and creating a tremendous amount of leverage with our outside partners. As we kind of launch into where we're going next, the biggest challenge is the complex automation and machine lead times that we have associated with that automation. However, we do have the right talent on board with folks that have been doing high volume manufacturing for decades, and I'm pretty confident in their ability to deliver.
Yeah, so I would echo that. I think that we've been doing a lot of development. We've been doing a lot of proving the technology out in space applications. Really, to cross that chasm is to cost down and to scale up. And this is probably the biggest challenge for us, 2021. But I'm confident that we have the right team in place. We've got the right technology in place. We think we've got the right strategy in place, and more importantly, the right customer in place to help us to cross that chasm. So really excited about the 2021 and 2022.
Yeah. Michael, if I go back to a technology question, when you taking these markets and turning applications and commercializing, are you displacing an incumbent solution that's there, or is there just simply not a solution? Nothing works for what they need today, and you're creating a solution for a problem that currently can't be managed?
Yeah, most of our the products go into our new applications. We don't go into replacement markets where replacement markets, when you can think about it, is usually it's like a cheaper solution or something like that. We don't like to go into those because we're not in there to compete on pricing. So most of our engagements are new applications, new designs, new problems customer face. Frankly, from some of the largest organizations, and they are just so many new applications on battery safety side, whether it's EV energy storage, new regulations, new safety standards, new chemistries coming up. You need new solutions for them, and that's where I think we add most of the value in solving new problems.
How does the development work? I mean, do you see a problem out there and then go to them and say we have a solution, or when you're looking at our customers coming to you saying, hey, we think you might be able to help us with this, can you work on a design or help us find a solution based on your products and technology?
Yeah, it kind of goes a little bit both. We have some existing products that's I mean, nothing from us is really off the shelf per se, but we got some solutions out there that customer look at it, say, hey, that can potentially solve our problem. As we've talked about in our investor deck, that most of our engagement starts with engineering services, right? So it's engineering services, designs, testing, things like that, and then get to a customized product for that customer solution. And then we go from there to scale up that product for the customer. So we don't have a large sales team. We got a lot of inbounding traffic for our products and solutions. It's from some of the largest organizations in the world. It's because they're constantly developing new products, new services to meet new market needs, and that's what's so exciting about it.
And I would just add, with that said, we are moving out on the smart battery packs, which we intend to have those be able to be sold into the mass market. So our first battery will be out there in probably late June, July timeframe, and that'll be our first targeted KULR product for a mass market.
So I'm going to take us for 22 past, and I do want to get to some participants. We have a bunch of questions, so I'm going to run through a couple of those. We've got a lot. I'm going to summarize a question here about commercialization for the EV industry. We've got a number of questions on a similar line, and that is how. And if you look at the stages of commercialization, I mean, how does this go from a timeline? And I think that's kind of what people are asking: is this go from, Formula E and an application, then what's the next step and the next step, and maybe help people understand the not necessarily the timing of things, but the steps of things.
Yeah, so I think different products, markets operate a little bit differently. So if you're thinking about energy storage products, that's something that we've been working with the customer for, I think, 12, 18 months now. COVID has slowed things down quite a bit than last year in terms of testing and just the physical, being able to get it there. But we see that people getting back and then be able to do the test, do the certification that's needed. So that's happening. On the EV side, that's a long development cycle. You see some of the battery announcements, whether solid state and other things, are all into the 2022, actually 2023, 2025, time frame. So a lot of discussions, a lot of testing, a lot of design activity happening around the industry around that. So that's kind of a longer in the tooth, and that's why we choose kind of auto sports, where we think that the time to market is much shorter. These people, that industry takes value, higher performance more. So it's much faster time to market in terms of having the product show up, and then you've got a multi-year development path into the EV world as well. So, and then frankly, EV is just we're just getting started. I mean, Tesla is shipping a lot of cars, but the other vendors are it's only a low single-digit percentage in the overall vehicle. So the roadmap is all the way to 2025 to 2030 in terms of getting a significant market share. So I think we're just getting started. There's a lot of activity.
But I also wouldn't get too caught up on the automotive side of our opportunities. We intentionally targeted the drone sector because that's an immediate opportunity for us to get to mass scale. So as we took a look at our portfolio of products, we went into multiple areas that we mapped out and created a vision for. And so EVs, much longer term, we can start right now with our Andretti relationship to help get us into the auto sports world. But for immediate commercialization, the drone market for us, and it's the industrial drone market that we're talking about, is a tremendous opportunity that definitely has needs. And we've heard from many of the large drone manufacturers how deficient some of the battery packs are in the market and how much help they need in putting a safer battery up into their drones.
Thanks for that, Keith. We actually have a few questions, and probably should have covered this earlier in the in the questions and presentation, but what exactly does it do? What is thermal runaway? What is it? What does the product do? How does your product work? So maybe a little more color on the application and the problem that it's solving in the energy storage space.
Okay. Well, thermal runaway is an event that either due to an inherent defect in the battery cell itself, or overheating, or a external intrusion to the battery that's a physical damage, like a car crash or something like that, that damage the battery. The cathode and anode gets shorted, and then it creates a chemical reaction that catches fire and then explode. So that happens at the individual cell level, and then the energy when it happens at the individual cell level isn't great enough to do a tremendous amount of damage, like burning down a house or something. But when you have mass amount of battery cells in a battery pack, in the case of Tesla, it's a few thousand of these cells, and Chevy Volt and other EVs are hundreds of these cells, and then you have a propagation event, that the explosion and the heat from one cell propagate to other cells. Then it becomes an uncontrollable, pretty catastrophic event. So the way we solve that problem is to use good thermal management to isolate the fire and explosion from that one cell, and have it not to propagate to the other cells, and then contain it on the spot right there in a passive fashion. So passive meaning that you don't need a fan, you don't need a pump. It's passively contained that. So and then the system, the solution actually works with active system kind of in combination. So in kind of a in kind of a nutshell, that's how our technology works. Sean, hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, no, that was very helpful, Michael. Another question related to that is, are you working in parallel with the battery manufacturer? So in other words, are you kind of working in conjunction with them, or is there design cycles in this? Where do you come into play?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have multiple partners on the battery side that we're working in co-development fashion with, but we're also working on our own technology for our own KULR cell. That we hope within the next year or so that we'll be able to be into a KULR cell.
Yeah, no, so that's right. Yeah, definitely working with battery cell manufacturers as well as battery pack manufacturers with our technology. Like Keith is saying, is that we got a suite of tools, things that will fit around the cell. What Keith was just talking about is the things that will go into new configurations of the batteries to make them cooler, lighter, and safer. And then we started doing that by, with our internal short circuit technology that we licensed from NASA. And that's being really widely, more and more widely used for energy storage, electric aviation customers to test for battery safety. That's a technology that NASA used to test for their battery. We're the exclusive licensee for that worldwide. And now we're serving all kinds of customers with that technology.
Thanks. We touched on this next question a bit, but I want to go back to it because we have a couple questions on it, and that's the current revenue level or capacity that you could that the current capacity could generate in terms of revenue levels. And again, I think we talked a little bit about it, Keith, but where the investments need to come in, and let's say the commercialization happened faster than expected. What could you do? How would that process work?
Yeah, so I don't think we want to make any forward-looking projections on revenue while we're on the call. We're still at a stage that we've got to build out the processes. We fully expect, though, those processes are capable and will be in use by the end of the year. We know our smart battery will be out in the field here no later than the July timeframe. So. Yeah, I think we're plenty of capacity on revenue projections. So,
right, and I think what the question was, what could you generate revenue? What revenue levels could you generate with the current infrastructure? And I kind of asked before, you need to make a lot of investments to scale, or is this going to be something that you could, at least initially, right, work with what you have before you need to make any significant investments?
Well, we're making the significant investments right now, and that automation will be built out here with depending upon manufacturer lead times that we're working with a couple to get them pulled in. But we expect that automation to be at full level capacity by the end of the year. So we're well capitalized to do that. We have the customer already waiting for us to put the automation in place for that service. So again, it's as soon as we can complete the build out and we have the right people to do that, it'll start generating, significant revenue for the company.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Thanks for the caller. I think that answered it. We're at 30 minutes in, so we keep these to half an hour. Usually, I apologize to all those we didn't get to in terms of questions, but I'll turn it over to you, Michael, and then maybe Keith for any closing remarks, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, no, Sean, thank you so much. I think great questions from you, and also great question from the audience. I would like to thank everybody for the time take from their busy day in the middle of a week to join the call today. So we hope that we've communicated our vision, and then we're gonna get back to work and show up in the numbers and the milestones. So thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody. We really appreciate your time, and thank you very much, Sean, for hosting the event today. Much appreciated.
Thanks, guys, and we'll definitely have you back. There's a lot of markets we want to talk about and dig into some of these specifics. Again, try to keep the information going, and maybe dig into some of the specific applications and maybe a little deeper in the technology at some point as well. So looking forward to having you back and consistently getting these out with you. And again, apologize to all the participants, questions we didn't get to, but thank you for your attendance today. As a reminder, you can get this on demand as well. It's archived. And with that, it concludes today's presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.